Hello folks, my name is Adriano Sella. I'm a software engineer at Border0, and today I'm going to be demoing our new Vanta integration. So, what does it do? Well, most organizations require their employees to meet certain compliance requirements prior to giving them access to critical infrastructure and servers. And these requirements may include signing policies, completing required trainings, fulfilling a background check, and more. And typically, the verification process is manual, so when a new employee requires access to be provisioned for them, someone in IT will review their compliance standing and proceed to grant access if everything looks good. So, what we've built with this integration is something that enables Border0 to tap into your Vanta environment whenever an employee tries to connect to a server, and it will verify whether the employee has satisfied the compliance requirements without any need for human intervention. So, let's see it in action. To get started, you'll want to navigate to Organization Settings, Integrations, click on the New button, then select the Vanta tile. Then we can go ahead and configure a Vanta integration with a name and a description. I'll call it Vanta integration, and the description will be my Vanta integration. Next up, we need to get credentials for Border0 to talk to Vanta. So a client ID and client secret. We can get those from the Vanta console here. So if we scroll down, click on Settings, Developer Console, and then click on Create on the top right, we can go ahead and create a new application. I'll call this one Border0, and the description will be Border0 policy integration. Then the app type should be Vanta API access, and we can go ahead and click Create. That gives us a client ID, which we can then provide here, and we can generate a client secret, which we can add over here, and then we can click submit, and we're all done. So we've now configured a new Vanta integration. Now Border0 is able to talk to Vanta. The only thing that's left now is to make use of this new integration in our Border0 policies. So I have this default org-wide policy here, which grants my email access to whatever sockets this policy is attached to. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on Actions, Edit, scroll down, Add Integration. We're going to select Vanta from the integration type, choose the Vanta integration that we created previously, and then we can go ahead and set specific configuration for the required checks that employees must pass before Border0 grants them access to our servers. So, for example, I want to require Adriano to have policies accepted, device monitoring software installed, any assigned tasks completed, required trainings completed. I'm going to leave the background checks ticked off for now because I haven't completed one, and so this will fail if I enable it. And then fail open. So what does this mean? This basically means that if Border0 runs into an issue when trying to talk to the Vanta API, the session will still be allowed through. So if Vanta is a non-blocking requirement for you, you're likely going to want to tick that on. And then we can go ahead and save this policy, and we can now take our new policy with the Vanta integration here for a spin. So I already have a connector created. I have it set up here. So running the connector now. That connector has 3 sockets, which we're going to test, and all of those sockets have that policy attached. So for example, this SQL server has that policy that we just created earlier or modified earlier to have the Vanta integration there. So let's go back to that socket. It was the database. And if I try to connect to this, it should let me through. Great. So I can query this database. I can also, let's now try the SSH server here. Great. I can connect to the SSH server, and there's also an HTTP server. Great, I can connect to all of those, and if we look at my session logs, I see successful sessions for the 3 different services. And if we look at the authorization information, we'll see why that session was allowed. And so we can see that the Vanta user Adriano@border0.com completed required tasks, accepted policies, completed trainings, and has device monitoring software installed. Awesome. So now let's see what happens if I change my policy such that the Vanta integration will check for background checks completed, which again, it doesn't apply to me, and so I don't have that passed. This should fail. So now we can go back to our sockets page, try to connect to any of these. So let's go with the HTTP server first, and I am unauthorized. Let's try the SSH server next, also unauthorized, and let's try the database server. Yeah, we're not through. Great. So if we look at session logs now, we see that we have denied sessions for the 3 sockets, and we can find out why. So indeed, Adriano has not completed background checks. And there you have it, folks. Pretty simple, straightforward, great way to enhance compliance in your organization and remove humans from the equation entirely. Thanks for watching.